Mr. Prasoon Bandyopadhyay. He's an architect with 6 years of experience in IT parks, institutional spaces, and retail design. He graduated in the year 2011 from National Institute of Technology, Patna. He joined L&T Construction in 2011 and worked in various multi-million projects spanning from various IT parks to institutional spaces. Presently, he serves as a lead architect at Future Research Design Company.
Welcome to UGC lecture series. This is AR 6013 Construction Technology. This is lecture number 5. We will talk about construction methods and equipments today. We will talk about construction equipments, we will talk about their various classifications, and we will see what are they used for in construction. Uses of construction equipments. So, what are the classifications of construction equipments? What are the various categories these construction equipments are put together? Number one is earth moving equipment, number 2 is hauling equipment, number 3 is hoisting equipment, then is conveying equipment, aggregate and concrete production equipment, pile driving equipment, tunneling and rock drilling equipment, pumping and dewatering equipment, and then dredging equipment. Uses of construction equipments. Earth moving equipments. The equipment which perform excavation, digging of large quantities of earth, moving them to distances, placement, compacting, leveling, dosing, grading, hauling, etc. are called earth moving equipments. And these earth moving equipments are classified into 2 parts. One is excavating equipment and the second is excavating and earth moving equipment. The equipments which fall into the earth excavation equipment categories are power shovel, black hoe, drag line, and clamshell. This is a power shovel. It is long lasting. It can excavate all types of earth except hard rock. There are 2 types of power shovel. One is wheel mounted, that is high speed and firm ground. The other one is crawler mounted, that is low speed, which are used for unstable soil. Wheel mounted power shovel are used for firm ground and crawler mounted power shovel are used for unstable soil. Wheel mounted power shovel have high speed and crawler mounted power shovel have low speed. As we can see here, this is a diagram of a power shovel. In this diagram, what we can see is the power shovel is supported by the crawler. The crawler facilitates movement of the vehicle to and fro. Then the housing is fixed on top of the crawler. So, this is the housing is the place that holds all the lever arms, the support cables, the booms, etc. together, and this is the space where the operator sits and operates. The A-frame is attached to the housing. The A-frame in turn connects the support cable and which in turn connects the boom. The boom has a pulley and which in turn operates the bucket. So, here we see this bucket facilitates excavation of earth, and the hoist is connected to the pulley and in turn connected to the housing, which facilitates the movement of the bucket along this axis. This is called the crowd cable, that is also connected to the saddle block, which in turn is connected to the boom. So, this operates like an arm and that facilitates the excavation action of the bucket. So, this is a power shovel. This one is a hoist cable. This is called the stake, and this can move from one place to another, and this can be fixed. The power shovel is of 2 types. One is fixed and the other one is of moving kind. Next is black hoe. Black hoe, which is also termed as hoe, back shovel, and pull shovel. It is used to excavate below the surface of the equipment. It caves into the ground. It is very similar to shovel, but except it makes inward strokes while digging. Now, its application. It is used for digging below the machine level like trenches, footings, basements, etc. It is also used to trim the surface, that is called dressing. Now this is a black hole, as you can see in the picture. Next is a drag line. The drag line is so named because of its prominent operation of dragging the bucket against the material to be dug. Unlike the shovel, it has a long light crane boom and the bucket is loosely attached to the boom through cables. Because of this construction of the machine, a drag line can dig and dump over large distances than a shovel can do. The drag lines are useful for dragging below its track level and handling softer materials. Dragging softer materials and below its track level. It is very useful for excavating trenches when the sides are permitted to establish their angle of repose without shoring. It has long reaches. And next point is, it is used for excavation for canals and depositing on the embankment without hauling units. As we can see, this is the line diagram of a drag line. As the power shovel, this also operates with the same principles. This has a crawler or a base, and the base supports the machinery or the housing unit, which in turn supports the frame, the suspension rope, and the boom. The boom is connected with the hose ropes, and which in turn is connected to the buckets. So the entire assembly operates like a lever arm which moves the boom along this axis, and then the suspension ropes and the boom point and the bucket and the hose ropes act like a lever arm, and the bucket and it ensures that excavation happens through the bucket, and this part is called the rigging. So this one is a line diagram of a drag line. Next is a clamshell. This is so named due to its resemblance of its bucket to a clam, which is like a shellfish with hinged double shell. The front end is essentially a crane boom with a specially designed bucket loosely attached at the end through cables as in a drag line. The capacity of a clamshell bucket is usually given in cubic meters. The basic parts of clamshell bucket are the closing line, hoist line, sheaves, brackets, tagline, shell, and hinge. The applications of clamshell. The clamshells are used for handling loose materials such as crushed stone, gravel, coal, etc. Its main feature is vertical lifting of material from one location to the other location. It is mainly used for removing material from cofferdam, sewer manholes, well foundations, etc. These are the photographs of clamshells. So you can clearly see these look like clams, and these take earth and it is pulled, it is vertically lifted up from one place to the other place. Now moving to excavation and earth moving equipments, it can be classified into 4 categories: motor graders, scrapers, bulldozers, and tractors. All these equipments, they not only excavate but they move the earth from place A to place B. Coming to the motor graders. So motor graders are either towed or motorized, and they are usually self-propulsive. What are the uses of motor graders? It is used for gravel road repairing, it is used for road shoulder reshaping, it is used for bank cutting, it is used for ditch filling, it is used for base coat spreading, it is used for material mixing, it is used for snow or land clearance, it is used for frozen topsoil, and also for asphalt breaking. This in the picture is a typical motor grader. Scrapers. The scrapers are a compromise between best loading and best hauling machines. They are unique for long distance hauling. It itself digs, hauls, and deposits the materials in uniform thick layers. So there are 2 types of scrapers. One is a crawler tractor pulled scraper, and the second one is a wheel tractor pulled scraper. This is a typical scraper, as you can see in the picture. The next is bulldozer. Bulldozers are versatile equipment, and these are essentially a heavy steel blade mounted on the front of the tractor. The uses of bulldozers are: number 1, spreading earth fill; second, clearing and opening up pilot roads; third, it is used for backfilling the trenches; and fourth, it is used for clearing construction sites. This you can see is a typical bulldozer. This part is used for carrying materials from one place to another and also to excavate the earth. This is a crawler with which it moves from one place to another, and this is a house. This is where the driver sits and operates the entire machine. Tractors. The tractors are multi-purpose machines mainly used for pulling and pushing other machines for agricultural purposes. These tractors are used for two applications. Number 1, clearing and excavating machinery. Number 2, hauling and conveying machinery. In this image you can see as a typical tractor. Moving to earth compaction equipments. So there are three kinds of earth compaction equipments. Number 1 are smooth, that is wheel rollers. Number 2 are sheep, that is foot rollers. Number 3 are pneumatic tired rollers. Smooth wheel rollers. They are plain steel rollers. They are self propelled up to from 5 to 25 tons. Then there are no deep compaction. Their rear wheels are larger in diameter and the front ones are wider. They have a diesel type engine. There is a compaction nature by static weight of the roller. Suitability. These are suitable for granular soils. These are suitable for sandy soil. These are suitable in areas where there are a lot of gravel, and these are also suitable in areas where there are crushed stones. These are called smooth wheel rollers. Sheep foot rollers. Sheep foot rollers are the ones with hollow steel drum with projected feet mounted at 100 to 200 mm center to center. They weigh around 15 tons. Their speed is around 25 kilometers per hour. They operate with by the theory of compaction by kneading action. They are attached with inconvertible rollers and the foot plate can be removed. In turn, the foot rollers, the individual sheep foot can be changed. So every individual sheep foot can be changed and replaced. The suitability. They are suitable in clay soil, predominantly cohesive and impervious soil. This is a typical image of a sheep foot roller. Pneumatic rollers. Pneumatic rollers consists of a base platform mounted between two axles. The trucks of the rear wheel lie in between the trucks of the front wheel. Compaction is by controlling the ground contact pressure. The weight or the width of the wheel can be suitably increased, and they are best suitable for fine grained and well graded sands. This is a pneumatic roller. We move on to pile driving rigs. Now pile driving rigs are provided for basic operation of lifting the pile, holding the pile in position, hammering it into the ground or pulling it out of the ground and guiding the pile in desired direction of movements. Now what is a pile driving rig is? A pile driving rig is an instrument takes the pile to a proper position as per the drawings and it hammers it into the ground or pulls it out of the ground. The construction of the pile driving rig is like it has a boom and it has a winch, it has a driving hammer, and it has all the platforms for mounting the auxiliary equipment such as jet pumps, driller, auger, etc. So it supports the boom, the winch, the winch mechanism, driving hammer, the guiding leaders, and a platform for mounting the auxiliary equipment such as jet pumps, drilling, auger, etc. In the hauling equipments is defined as movement of materials from one place to another. The equipments used for this process are called as hauling equipments, and they are of two types, that are dump trucks and dumpers. So what we do is, in the construction process, we also require such equipments to take earth from one place to another apart from excavation. So the hauling equipments perform this function. The trucks that we used are divided into two parts. One are dump trucks and the other ones are called as dumpers. The dump trucks again in turn are classified into two types. One is a side dump truck and the other one is a bottom dump truck. So in this case, the entire philosophy, the entire principle of a dump truck is that it carries the equipment and then at the particular position it tilts the dumper which takes the content out. The side dump truck is done, the dumping happens through the side of the truck and it is suitable for hauling wet clay, sand, gravel and the quarry rocks. So it basically takes the materials with huge volumes like gravel, quarry rocks, wet clays, etc., which are very easy to dump sideways. In the bottom dump truck, the entire dumper, it lifts up, and thus the entire material comes out of the truck by the act of gravity. The dumping is done by opening of the bottom of the truck. So it is suitable for free flowing material such as sand, gravel, dry earth and hard clay. So the bottom dump truck and the side dump truck are both useful and are used for dumping for conveying materials from one place to another, excavated materials from one place to another and dumping it. It can also be used for example, if you are doing earth fill, the earth can be taken out of the earth that we take out for excavation can be again dumped into the excavated hole by the dump trucks. This is a typical example of a side dump truck. In this figure, I illustrate a bottom dump truck. Cranes. Cranes are used in construction projects, shipping and other industries. They may be electrically operated, diesel operated, or diesel electrical, or a combination between diesel and electric. There are various classifications of cranes: derrick cranes, mobile cranes, overhead or gantry cranes, traveller cranes, and also tower cranes. Conveyor belt. Conveyor belts are most popular, and these consist of a belt running over a pair of end drums supported by a series of rollers called idlers. The middle sag is provided to prevent the spilling of materials. The advantages of conveyor belts: they can handle light, heavy, dry, wet, soft and also coarse materials. They can move in high speed. They can carry horizontally and inclined fashion also. They are very light in weight and they have a controlled discharge. There are various kinds of conveyor belts. One is a screw conveyor. The screw conveyors are used for handling granular or pulverized materials. The quantity transported by a screw conveyor is less compared to a belt conveyor. It is low in cost and it consists of a helix mounted on a bearing at the ends and at intermediate points. It can exist up to 65 meters and with an inclination of up to 35 degrees. Bucket conveyor. In this conveyor belt, the material is transferred through a series of buckets. The length is limited to 25 meters. The weight depends upon the strength of the chains carrying the bucket, and it is mainly used for handling coal. Aerial transportation. Now, in the construction industry, it is also very important that the materials are transported in an aerial way. To facilitate this, there are various equipments. First are cableways. They are used in excavation work of dams, quarries, constructions, etc. They can load, the loads are hoisted and they move vertically. They are also used in transporting concrete over a large area. Next are ropeways. Ropeways facilitate long distance movement. There are endless ropes. The construction is like there are endless ropes with two end towers and supported by series of pulley mounted on intermediate tower. There are separate handling and support ropes. Batchers. The batchers are used for proportionating the ingredients of concrete for a particular mix. The batchers also can be used for weighing the batching, and they are commonly used for generating a concrete of particular weight. There are three types of batchers: manual batchers, semi-automatic batchers and automatic batchers. This is a typical illustration of a batching. Concrete mixers. Mixing all the ingredients of concrete to make concrete mixers are used to mix all the ingredients of concrete to make a mix of specified consistency. The factors governing mixing are correct settling of the machine, proper cleaning of blades, sequence of material charged, and timely supply of water, the direction of inflow, speed and time of mixing. There are two kinds of concrete mixtures. One is a drum type mixture that has a tilting function and a non-tilting function, and the second is a pan type mixer. This is a typical example of a concrete mixture. This is again a typical example of a concrete mixture. So, what we learned today? We learned about the various construction equipments that are used for the various construction activities. We learned about their uses, we learned about the classifications and how they function. So, the questions can be of two kinds. Describe with brief note about different construction equipments. Illustrate with diagrams and brief description about the construction equipments. So, what we learned about are various classifications of construction equipments. We covered earth moving equipment, we covered hauling equipments, hoisting equipments and conveying equipments in terms of two conveyor belts. We covered aggregate and concrete production equipment, we covered pile driving equipment, tunneling and rock drilling equipment, pumping and dewatering equipment and dredging equipment. So, all these equipments we should so we learned about the descriptions, we learned about the uses and also we learned that how significant are these equipments in the construction industry. Thank you.